Hello everyone, my name is Beret, and sometimes I wear a beret, and happy 2024. What better way to start off the new year than by ranking my entire collection? I did this last year, or last Christmas, where I brought back something that I had done like 4 years prior, and I actually found it to be quite useful for looking at everything that I owned and forcibly showing off whether I've used it or not. I have some bins in front of me, and we are going to pull out every blaster that I own, and I'm going to tell you how long it's been staying in that bin. For a quick reminder of my grading scale, we've got 5 potential options. Number 1, not used. This means it's a blaster that I have not used in quite some time, maybe ever. Number 2, underused. I have probably used this blaster at some point in a game, but it has been a couple of years. It's not completely unused, but it has certainly been a minute. Number 3, well used. I brought this blaster to a game at least once last year, maybe twice. Number 4, very used. I bring this to quite a few games, maybe 3 to 5 games in the total year, so it's not uncommon that I might bring this blaster. And number 5, always used. There's a good chance I brought this to a game in the past year almost every single time. Now this scale doesn't dictate whether the blaster is good or bad, it just means that I have either used it recently or not. And the 1 to 2 range is kind of a red flag for maybe I should look to actually bring this to a game in the next year, or maybe I should look about offloading it, because that's why I have all the blasters that I do. I like to bring them to games, and very rarely do I just collect stuff, or collect for display purposes. On that note, let's start off with those honorable mentions that don't necessarily fit the list. Also, my dog has decided that he is going to make an appearance here. He's going to help me sort through things, but he's too stumpy, so you can't see him. 2 acquisitions for the year were my Halo micro shots, the Spanker and the Needler. These are not exactly things that I wanted to get to bring to games, I just wanted to have them for display purposes. They've been in my backdrop actually most of the year, so I don't intend on taking them out of their packages, so they don't count. This one's back too, the Gel Blaster Starfire David Dobrik edition. Why do I still have this? So I have the box for this one still. It's the Nerf Gelfire Mr. Beast Blaster. That was excessive. But actually this shouldn't count because I did use this in a game last year. It's a 3. And here's something I got in October by Luca that is something I would probably not bring to a game, but the hand skewer from Kyle, aka Caldub, aka Pink Dragon Tuning, is something that's a little bit too delicate to want to bring out to games. It's just gonna break off little fingers, and it hurts when you break fingers. I do still have the Halo Needler box and the stand. It's usually on its stand, so I didn't bring the box out. This one also probably not ideal for this moment because I did use this last year at least once, so it's a 3. The Colonel Wasp Firefly Unicorn Edition is a blaster I've actually brought to quite a few games recently, and I still have its box right there. I have not made a review video on it, so I'm actually going to give this one a 4. This section was supposed to be blasters that don't count, right? Okay, last inbox one. Dart Zone Pro Mark 1.2. Didn't use it as much this past year, but I used it enough. It's a 3. I don't know why I still own this. Maybe that will change in next year's ranking list. Hold me to that. Alright, now let's crack open a bin. We've got the X-Shot Long Shot. I've brought this to quite a few games since receiving it. I would give this a 4. I really like using this one in its stock spring configuration or a higher spring configuration. Hasn't broken on me yet. I already replaced the plunger tube. Oh, hello there. Oh, hello there. A little easier to store when you make the barrel removable. I didn't bring this to as many things this year. I'm gonna give the Viper Strike a 3. It can always show up more in the future. The Nerf Pro Strife X. What's this stuff on it? That's weird. Things must have changed. I'm going to give the Strife X a 5. Now this is one that I did receive a little bit more recently. It's not like I got this in the beginning of the year and used it at basically every game since then, including traveling for Ragnarok Oktoberfest, so I think it's only fair that I give this one a 5. Hello, Pixelator! This is the one from Luchathor that's modified. And I did use it once since receiving it, so I'm gonna give it a 3. Dart Zone Pro Mark II. I'm going to give this one a 4. I don't think I brought it to as many games this past year. Sometimes I just have new stuff that I have to try instead, and there's only so many rounds in a day. Sledge Fire. Pulling its shells as we speak. I'm gonna give it a 3. I brought it to 2 games this past year, maybe more in the future, but as it is, I think that's still an acceptable amount. Contrast that with the other Sledge Fire I still own. This is the singled one, which has not been brought out in many a times, Technically, I'm going to give it a 1. But that is because this Sledgefire exists as spare parts should my regular one, my more frequently used one, get broken. I don't know how hard it is to source a Sledgefire these days, but I'm not going to take my chances. My hammer shot. My beautiful little hammer shot that is now a bit outdated as far as parts go, but it still holds a lot of sentimental value. This hammer shot gets a 1. I have not brought this out in many years, and hopefully that can change in 2024. On that note, my Lynx from SilverFoxIndustries. I don't remember what I gave it last year actually, but I'm going to give it a 1. It has been too long. About that. So this one doesn't catch currently. I don't know what happened. It's not like I abused it. I don't know if I can count this right now because it's not working, but let's give it a 2 just because it's, yeah, that's why. Sunfish. Now this blaster, I did use this year. I actually used it like a month or so ago. I'm gonna give this one a 3. It's funny to have something that's so awkward with a magazine coming out the top. Granted, when I have the battery stock on, it looks a little bit too long to use comfortably, but hey, don't judge me. Aha! I did bring this to a game. I brought this to multiple games actually since creating this, and I don't think I actually used it in a round, so I don't know if I can count it. We'll give it a 2 for effort. Worker Nightingale. I got this from Luchathor. Thank you so much. I used this at Ragnarok Oktoberfest. I used this at Indoor Game after that, so I actually used this a couple of times. I'm gonna give this one a 4, actually. Yeah, I just really struggled to get that one out. The Silly Pistol. I used this a couple of times this year. Pretty good power, top prime blaster. Still working on me so far. I'm gonna give this one a 3. Aha, the Breaking Wind by Seayard Nerf. The Shell-Fed Pistol. I'm going to give this one a 3. I did use this year, the day I brought my Spring Thunder to a game. When you bring shells, you might as well use them in your primary and your secondary. X-Shot Menaces. I'm gonna give these 3s because I have brought them to games in the past year, but not like all the time. Admittedly, something else kind of took their spot recently. And actually now I'm looking at this bin and I'm seeing a lot of stuff that's more single shot oriented, and I'm realizing that maybe I need to do something next year that involves a bunch of single shot blasters. Maybe not this one. Maybe not the Alpha Strike Uppercut. This gets a 3, obviously. I used it this last year. Wasn't happy about it, but I did what I gotta do. I have to keep this though, right? I can't get rid of it. Things like this, by the way, sidebar, point of order, things like this that are small enough to not take up too much space get a little bit of a pass, because I can store single shots a little bit more easily. That said, there is a point when you have too many and you realize you gotta downsize. I say that looking at Banana Blaster 1 official, Banana Blaster 2 unofficial, new Hyper Blaster from Kyle as well, this Foam Knight RX that I got in the previous year too, just a couple of Jolts right here. I know I haven't brought these recently. I'm throwing all these in the same category because there's so much potential to bring single shots, but they have been kind of superseded by like 1 or 2 options. As it stands right now, I'm gonna give these all 1s. Just like I have to give the Icon Maverick a 1. When was the last time I used a Maverick? Me! What am I doing with my life? 2024, we're bringing the Maverick back. Actually, I lied. 2024, we're bringing Boomco back. Right now. I'm saying this right now. Right here, right now. This is my Boomco Halo M6. It gets a 1 as well. It has been way too long since I used this in a game. I think there's still some fun to be had with this thing. In the world where Boomco straws are diminishing in their availability, at least like a single shot means that you get the most out of every single dart or straw. The Rangemasters internals also are in that boat of a 1, something I haven't brought in a long while, but could probably still fit that single shot aesthetic. It's a little bit different than a Jolt though, because you know, it's a air-powered thing. SilverFoxIndustries Hyper. Why didn't I just pull this out earlier? This is also a 1, unfortunately. Panthers, yes, I still have both of these as well. Again, sitting at the bottom of the bin. These are 1s. I have to be honest with myself. Very sad. Well, that's all for this bin as far as blasters go. Next, bin number 2. Little Rockets. I'm gonna give this one a 3. I feel like I should be using Little Rockets on more of my stuff. Anything that has a rail should just get one of these. This is just a bunch of magazines. That doesn't count. Oh man, those revealed instant depression. Yeah, we're getting to those immediately, I guess. Sax BZs are still here. They're ones in the meantime, but they're ready and waiting. This banana popper doesn't count. How much banana stuff do I have in here? Old school wrist rocket. Haven't used this in a hot moment. I'm gonna downgrade this again to a 1. Okay, so this is in package again, but I swear, I built this again recently, brought it to a game, and just didn't actually use it in a game because I was using something else that was kind of dumb. Story of my life. So I'm gonna give this one a 2. That might be a little generous, but this is my list. These nanomags are still in their bag with my little logo on them as well. I have to give those a 1. Does this count? Good. Old Boomco single shot. You think I would have looked up the name this time, but nope, once again I did not. It's a 1. I haven't used this in ages, maybe ever. Maybe when I bring my Halo M6 Boomco pistol, I'll bring this one out too. You know, because I need some superior firepower. Penguin Popper's also in here too. I don't think this should count. Freeze. Give me all your money. Because I need more. Dollar bills. Fake dollar bills. In the super gun. You haven't used this. It's a 1. All right, well that was it for this bin. That was anticlimactic. Boat, 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 boat.
What the dog doing?
Boat. Right, now he's curious. He wants to see what's in the boat. A few more things that I took off the display wall. We've got my blaster. It's a 3. I will never get rid of this. Oh, here's a couple things that I got that I don't actually think I used in a game despite actually bringing them. These are the pen blasters that I bought from Bobololo. I'm going to give them a 2. I don't even know if enough time has passed for that to be legitimate, but hey, there's motivation to use them next year. The Lame Boy. Brought this to Armageddon for an Awfuls round. Worked actually just fine. 2 shots is always nice, and it's a lot easier when you don't have to pull out the cartridge every time, that's for darn sure. So is it an Awfuls blaster? I don't know. But it works alright. It's a 3. Dart Zone Max Solo. I have used this at basically every single game I've had since getting this blaster. It's a 5. This thing is probably going to be well used in the coming year. Honestly, I'm gonna point to this and say this is the reason I haven't brought other single shot blasters to games. Alright, so all my big blasters are hiding in here, which is why on the very top we've got this little baggie of the world's smallest Nerf blasters. Should they even count? Who cares? They're a 3 because I use these at a game. We've got the Flak, printed by... Did I break something? Printed by Boomstick Mods. I did use this past year, maybe once or twice. It's a 3. Ooh, a big boy. We've got a skewer, Caliburn skewer. I'm going to give this one... Sure, I'll give it a 4. Since receiving this from Kyle, Pink Dragon Tuning, I have actually really enjoyed using this one. I like how absurdly large it is. It's darn powerful too, with even more potential. Oh, hello, Worker Harrier. Is this a 5? I think this is a 5. I haven't actually brought this to a lot of games recently, simply because I'm like, oh, I've got to use something else instead of just my Harrier. But I'm going to say because of the legacy it had this year for me, and the sheer number of games it still went to, it's a 5. Game Face Try-On. I brought this to a couple things this year. I brought this to Maryland Mayhem as well. Not as many as I thought, though. Probably because when I had the option to bring this or the Harrier, I went with the Harrier. I'll give this one a 3. Gold Nexus got its use this year. Once or twice. It's a 3. I'll probably keep using this Nexus compared to the other one because I took the gold one out so it could be used. On that note, I said last year that I kept this one in package so I could look at it because it was pretty, but I haven't actually used it after taking it out of its package. So I'm gonna give this one a 2. Because it hasn't been long enough to be a 1. I have tried to bring this to games to use it, but I keep defaulting to something else. I guess I only got it last year, so maybe we can say 2 to be safe, to be nice. You know why I haven't used this one? Because of the darn Needler. Who'd have thought? This is probably more practical because it's magazine fed, and yet the Needler's like, look at me, I have needles. X-Shot. Oh, Rage Fire. It's still got batteries in it. I should take those out. See, that's why it's good to check on your blasters every now and then. Did I leave batteries in there? Did I leave a LiPo in there? I will give this one a 3. I have brought this to games. Wait. Did I use this in a game? Oh no. Oh no. Nah, I shot someone with this. I'm gonna count that. This is a 3. My Spring Thunder. I did bring this to a game this year, and I have a nice little special shell right here from Boomstick, because he used it at Ragnarok Oktoberfest for HVZ. He said it worked pretty darn well, so I'm happy to hear that. It's a 3. Something's rattling in there, though. That's probably fine. And once again, remember that Whiteout Long Strike last year, and you said, oh, sure, yeah, I'll use this one day, and then you don't, so you have to say, this is a 1. My Whiteout Long Strike from Luchathor. Can one even use a Whiteout Long Strike in a game? Is that ethical? Would that decrease its value? Maybe for an HVZ. Just the sheer presence of a Whiteout Long Strike will make people be like, oh, we can't tag him, that's a Whiteout Long Strike. And last but not least, at the bottom, I've got my Beret Claw from SilverFoxIndustries. Another year, another not used blaster. It's a 1. Unfortunately, I also took the spring out because I put that SF25 in my new X-Shot Long Shot at one point. So it doesn't currently work right now. I kind of feel like I want to display this one as well instead of use it just because it has sentimental value. At least the prime weight's pretty light right now. Well, folks, that's it. That's my entire collection as it stands. Maybe there's onesie-twosie little things hiding here and there. We're obviously not counting the magazines, the darts, the additional gear. The point of me showing off all of my blasters here is to not be like, woo, look at all the fancy stuff I have and you don't, because to be completely honest, this is a collection that's grown over the years, and I've tried to pare it down to stuff that I only actively use. So this collection is ever growing, but it's also ever changing. And I hope that people are constantly reminded that despite all the hot new stuff coming out that you have to go and buy because it's the next best thing and it makes every other thing that's existed before obsolete, and you would be dumb and completely shut out of games if you don't get this hot new stuff. That's not true. Make your current collection work for you. And if you need to get something new, consider what you currently have already and maybe trade it out. And my current collection reflects the kind of games or activities that I'm actively going to. So yeah, it has changed over the years. It's a little weird to see that now there's a lot more competitive focused blasters in the mix, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing, and I still pick up the goofy stuff here and there as well, but I can't have all of it. I'm also not running out to Goodwill every weekend to see what blasters I can add to my collection because this is the foam arms race. I gotta have 1,000 blasters to my collection so I can have the biggest collection in the world on YouTube. Blah, blah, blah. If you want to collect something specific, that's great. If you've been dying to find something like a Whiteout Long Strike and you're gonna pay for that and you're going to display it or have it in your collection just to say I have a Whiteout Long Strike, that's fantastic. Good for you. I hope that you get a lot of worth out of that. Because for me, I can't justify having stuff like this in bulk. I couldn't justify having like a 95 crossbow if I wasn't going to actually use it. And with that, I'm gonna get off my soapbox and I'm going to put all this stuff back into boxes and I'm going to update my Excel spreadsheet, which has a list of everything I own. And that will take a little bit of time. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Subscribe for more Arsenal videos as I collect every blaster ever existed and store it in my tiny apartment. I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, I end these videos by jumping into a box. Hang on one sec. Oh, I'm gonna break the box.